just had to scratch with the introduction of variables in Figma yesterday, June 21st, 2023. So I wanted to see if it was possible to do a text input in Figma, and the answer is not really, but it is kind of. So you can see here I've got the inline preview running, and you can see my hover states and the style changing, and then as I click on it, it gets rid of the placeholder text, and then I can start, hello world, how are you, and I have it set to truncate. It's not perfect, and then as I click off, it changes the state back to kind of filled. I can clear it out, goes back to placeholder, and then if I wanted to do something else, you can see it didn't quite work that time, and I can say, hey, what's up? So yeah, so that's kind of cool. Things I can't do, backspace. There's no way to take the string and decrement it, as far as I can tell yet. I've only played around with this for about an hour, so maybe there's a way and I just haven't discovered it yet. But anyway, it's kind of cool. As you can see here, I've got a parent component with child variants, and we're basically using these three. There's a default, a hover, and then a filled state. So as I reset it, it goes back to that default state, and then you can see the hovers. If I click on the area, you get this guy, and it's saying set the current input to input A, right? This would prevent you from, if you had multiple text inputs on a page, then you would set each of these individually to input A, input B. You could give them real names, whatever you wanted, and then you target all of the interactions for those individual components for those individual elements. Otherwise, like right now, if I were to duplicate this, then typing in the one field would change the other, just like you're seeing here. As I type, it would just update it. So then if it is placeholder, set it to a space. For some reason, empty string doesn't work, probably a Figma bug right now. So I'm setting it to a space instead of empty string, because empty string doesn't do anything. Also, this has to be first for some reason. If I put it after setting the style, it doesn't like it. So that's what's happening at the beginning. And then here's where some of the nonsense happens. How does the text work? This is where it's kind of kludgy. So you can see on the text field itself, I have a whole bunch of key listeners. Right now I just have A through Z, lowercase, and spacebar. I actually tried to do uppercase, and it didn't work the first time I tried it. I just didn't want to work any more on it. But what it looks like is this. It does a conditional check. This may be overkill in the long term. I've yet to see it. But if the current input is the input that I'm working with, then go ahead and set the value of that variable to, this is if you hit the space bar, set it to space. If it's Q, right? If you pressed Q and the current input is this input, then make it A, etc., etc. And then really the cool thing is, all you have to do if you want to add a new one, for instance, if I wanted to add a comma, I just take one of these guys. Sorry, you have to select it way off to the left. You can hit copy, Command C, or Control C, Command V, right? So then your new one is actually up here for some reason. So then I can just come in here and hit comma, and then change this value to comma, and now I have a new key listener, and it will now listen for commas, and you can just test that here. Char comma, nope, didn't work. If I come in here and click and comma, why didn't it work? If it's input A, then set input value A to the value plus a comma. Might just be another bug. Not sure. I don't think this is ready for prime time. I think we're using things that shouldn't be that way. As you can see, if I try to do like a Shift C and then change this to capital C instead of our lowercase c, and I do that, this should work here. If I reset it and just click and then Shift C, nothing. So can I make this a lowercase c and make it work? I come in here, I click Shift C, and so it looks like it's probably not listening for those keys very well. So again, like I said, it's not perfect, but it was kind of cool, a lot of fun. One of the things that I hadn't talked about were the variables, right? I just have 3 variables. Which input is it? Sorry, this is the input value, so it defaults to placeholder. And then what's the current input? It starts out as null until you click it, right? And then it gets set. And then this is the input style. This is how you update you go from hover state to filled state to error state to whatever other state in your variable you want. And the way that works is quite simple, actually. So with your text field selected here, you set it by clicking the little set variable, and then you say, I want your value to be input val A. And then it tells you down here, hey, this guy is set to input val A. You can break the link, obviously, if you want to. And then the same thing for the styles. So you come up to the style, and you say it's set to default. That's great. But if you want to change that, just like any of these new values, sorry, it actually happens over here on the instance that you have right here. Then you can come in here. See, I've set it to this variable. You can't do it on the component itself. It has to be the instance of the component. So if I break that style, then it's just your same stuff that you've always had. But now you get the little hexagon. You click that and you say, no, I want it to be tied to that. So whenever you change that variable, it will change that because it's tied to it. The same as the text. If you change the text, it will change the actual text to that. So lots of cool things. You can also do that with components. Like if I selected this guy, you can do that with, you can set it to variables for width and height. Some other things you can do using the hexes. Hex buttons that allow you to tap into variables, which is very cool. Anyway, thanks for watching.